Okay, in this one, we're going to be talking about an engineering scale. Again, you can always reread these. You should have watched a video over the engineering scale. Basically, this one has a couple of different markings on it. It has 10, and it goes by tens. So you have 10, 20, you have 30. Now on the opposite side, you have 40, 60, 50. They're only red. They're only one ruler on each side. It's a 6-side piece, and it only goes up 60. But anyways, right here we have 0. Some of them read left to right and right to left, so this one has 0 up here, but 36 at the top. On this side over here we have 36 at the bottom and 0 at the top. Some of them will not have that. It's just depending on which type and ruler you got, which it doesn't really matter. You just have to read it whichever way you read it. So the nice thing about these rulers is if we go to tenths, a lot of people find this one a lot easier to read than actually a regular ruler. A lot of people would much rather read these than a regular ruler as well, although depending on which which job you have, if you're working with buildings and things like that, you're going to use architects because people have to use tape measures. There are tape measures that are engineering rulers, but that's beside the point. A lot of engineers will use this because it's easier for the decimals to be put in than just fractions that have lots of decimals, and this can calculate them out a little bit easier. Anyways, here we have a 10. We're going to use that one for any one of these that have a 10 or a 1 in front of them in the second column. We're not worried about the first column. It's kind of the opposite of the architect scale. So right here we have scale 1 to 1. We're actually going to use the 10 scale for that one. We only care about this first number in the second column. So that's a 1. So we'd go to the scale that has a 1 in it. Same thing with this one. This is 1. Now each one of these has 10 lines in between here, which basically means that each one of these is 1 decimal. So this one would be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, whatever it is for that one. So right here, we have 4.7 on that one. We have 0 right here. We go over to 4, and then the decimals is 0.7, so we go over 7 lines and we mark it. So I go right here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make a little dash. And that's what I'm going to set it up at. I'm going to set it up at 0 right here off to the left. I'm going to come over here to 4.7, which I marked. And that's the full size scale. All of these ones will do number 3 together because it's 0.55. That one's going to kind of be just a guess for that one, just slightly, not very much, because we're going to go 3. We're going to go over 5 lines, which would be the center line, a little bit longer one. And then we'll just go dead center between these two right here, which again is kind of just a guess for some of these. This one's not going to be perfect, but we'll just go right there. And that's where we're going to make the mark, right in between the 0.5 and 0.6. So you'd set that up at 0. Go there and make that mark across. Erase your little handiwork on the ruler. Make sure that's no longer there. Before I forget, make sure your name and date are on this. Alright, moving down to here. The second column just changed for the distance. So now 1 inch. So 0 to 1 now equals 10 inches. And so what that means is that this now, instead of being 0.1, is now 1 inch. And this is 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, 6 inch, 7 inch, 8, 9, and 10 inches for that one. So if we need 50 inches, we basically, an easy way of doing this one so that you don't actually have to, if you get used to this, you could count 50 lines. There's 50 lines all the way through here, but it's going to be the 5 for a solid number. What I've always taught people is just go to the last point right here, place a fake decimal behind it, and move that one to the left. So this is going to give you your whole number. And again, this is how many lines you count. So your whole number is 5 and 0 lines. So we set this up right here. We go across here to 5. And we make a little and mark it across. Now I'm going to skip these two for right now. You can go back to them. This one's going to be kind of like what we did for number 3, but I'm going to go to yards. So this one says 1 inch equals 10 yards. So again, all of those lines now just equal 1 yard. So I can put a decimal behind the 7. I can move it forward 1. Now I go over 1 and then 7 lines. So I set this up at 0. I go to 1. I go over 7 lines, and I just make a little mark. And again, you could count lines. If you really don't understand this or whatever, you can count lines. It's just really going to suck when you get down here and it says 187 lines or 246. Like each one of those is going to be a line, but you're going to have to count them. And you'll see why it's going to suck here later on. But right here we have 1 line, 2 line, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right there. That's exactly where I just had it a second ago because I went to 1 and I counted over 7 lines. It's kind of an easy way of doing it. We'll go right here for the 20 miles because these are, again, all identical. This is just telling you what one it's going to be on. This is not saying that each line is a different number now. They're still whole numbers. So we go right here, we go to 15, we put a dot, we move it, and now we have 1.5 for solid. So I'm going to rotate this, and I'm going to go to 20. This still means each line is this distance, right? Let me get this on the right one here. It's going to be this distance. So that's what each line represents on this. So each line represents 1 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way across there. 10 is still 10 inches. It is not 20 inches now. Don't put that in your brain. This is just telling us which ruler to use. This is telling us what each line represents. So we have 15 miles. We're going to go to 1 because our decimal got moved over. Solid number of 1. And then we have 5 lines to count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So I set that up at 0. Go here. And I mark that one across. Let's go down to something a little bit harder. So go down here to number 18. We'll go to 18 and then I'll let you run with this one. So 18 right here. Again, we're going to go to a 50. It says miles, but that's fine. So we're going to go to 50. 50's right here. So at 50, you're going to see all of these lines got a lot closer. Like I said, if you were on this one right here, number 18, you could count 187 lines. I would really hate to count 187 lines all the way through here because that would really, really suck. So instead, again, I put a decimal into the back. I rotate it forward, just 1. So now we have a solid number of 18, and then we only have to count 7 lines. So come right here. We go to 18. And then in here, it's a lot easier to only count 7 lines because right here is 5, that longer line right there. And then we just get 2 over from there. So 18. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's right there. So then I bring that down. I set it up at 0. I go over to 18 in my little extra line that I just drew. Mark that one across. Make sure it's legible, it's neat, you know where the lines are on there. That's how you use an engineering scale. Yeah, a lot easier in my opinion than the architect scale, but the other one has kind of just been the way that everyone uses it. So anyways, that's all that I have for you on this one.